Welcome back, viewers. You're watching Times Now. I am Meenakshi Upreti. Our top focus is the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. His first official visit to India has begun already. We have a breaking news coming in. He is now in the national capital. U.S. Secretary of State has landed in Delhi. In the morning, he had visited Kolkata. It's his maiden visit to India. It's a very, very significant visit, as we were telling you, because it is aiming to strengthen the strained bilateral relations. In fact, the itinerary includes discussions with External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar as well. All eyes are obviously on that meeting with the Prime Minister Modi. It's very significant because the participation of Quad national ministers and the foreign ministers, that's also very, very significant. Earlier today morning, as we were telling you, he was in Kolkata. There he had visited the Mother Teresa house as well, and now he has arrived in the national capital. He's scheduled to meet the Prime Minister later. Very, very significant updates coming in. It's high-stake diplomacy. The Delhi visit, very significant because it is all end of the day about Delhi, DC and diplomacy. Srinjoy, my colleague, joining us live on the broadcast. Srinjoy, we have these visuals coming in. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio now landing in the national capital. Take us through what we are expecting through the course of the day today. All eyes obviously on his meeting with the Prime Minister today.
Yes, Prime Minister, of course, but not only that, he's going to Rajasthan, he's going to Agra, and of course, apart from the bilateral with S. Jaishankar, External Affairs Minister, tomorrow, there is also a Quad meeting. And that Quad meeting means the meeting of foreign ministers, really, of Australia, of Japan, and Secretary Rubio and External Affairs Minister Jaishankar. That's on Tuesday. But the important thing to look out for is whether there's going to be an announcement about President Trump's visit to India. Now, when that will be is not certain, but the Quad summit is awaited. And that Quad summit will happen after what happens on Tuesday, which is the Quad foreign ministers meeting. Now, the Quad summit technically should have happened last year, but it could happen this year now, now that ties between the United States and India are looking up, are much better than they were a few months ago. So it's entirely possible that President Trump will be here in Delhi for the Quad summit, perhaps either later this year or early next year. That's at least the plan. How things go, depending on Iran and Cuba and everything else, we don't know. But that's something that both countries are working on.
Absolutely. Very, very significant. Srinjoy, the details you're bringing us. Stay with us because we'll come back to you and talk about the significance of this visit, why it is so very significant, also about the Quad countries and more. But first of all, viewers, let's take a look at why this visit matters, why it's so very significant, something obviously which my colleague Srinjoy was also underlining and explaining. Reason number one, why it's so very important. First, it's a signal of India's geopolitical importance when it comes to the United States of America. Reason number two, and very, very significant, because there have been trade tensions, trade and tariff tensions had existed and they need repair, and for that reason this meeting is very significant. Energy security, very important for us, a very strategic point far as India is concerned. That's something which could come up in the discussions as well. Number four reason, remember, this particular meeting is coming amidst all the geopolitical recalibration which is happening. We all know how the geopolitical equations are realigning. This is coming in the backdrop, obviously, of the West Asia war as well. Number five, visit to other cities. Very, very significant. It shows, obviously, a broader diplomatic outreach. He's visiting multiple cities, as we were telling you. Srinjoy, if I could just come back to you once again, help us understand the significance of this visit, why it is being so very closely watched by people, not just in India, but the world.
Well, first of all, there was a lot to repair, because there was all this tension about tariffs. Now that problem appears to be largely solved, though the trade deal is yet to be signed. Now, just a while ago, perhaps 2 days ago, Sergio Gord, the U.S. ambassador to New Delhi, said that, look, this deal will be signed in weeks, maybe months. Now, that's an important statement by the U.S. ambassador, known to be very close to the president himself. Now, secondly, this also means that a lot of further movement will happen, at least on the trade front. We know that an American trade team will be in New Delhi fairly soon. That's again something is happening. Also, as Sergio Gore said, there is a lot of plans the American investors have to invest huge sums of money in India. That will benefit both sides. Then on the defense side, there is going to be further movement. So all in all, this is an important moment, because at this point, the visit by the American Secretary of State, after President himself has gone to China, is a way of saying, look, India and America are very close friends. We are partners. We are not allies, but we are partners. And at this point, India and America will work together. That's the basic message coming out of the visit. And he's here for 4 days. 4 days is a long time for a US Secretary of State.
And it's a 4-day long visit. Very, very significant points which, Sanjoy, you were underlining. We'll keep coming back to you for more on this.